who was and is to come. We joyfully acknowledge that you are the creator of heaven and earth. We pray that your Son, the Lord Jesus, will come and be with us today. Bring wisdom, guidance, and honor to the meeting today and to the issues that our elected officials have to deal with. Again, Lord, we thank you for the many blessings that you bestow on us. I offer this prayer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Administrative business.
Okay.
Are you getting it too?
Have the minutes, October 7th and also October 9th.
Had time to review those minutes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of October 7th.
Okay, been moved and I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And October 9th,
Make a motion to accept them as presented.
okay. And been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of October 9th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I've got a question. Did they televise that night? Did they end up televising? Okay, I thought, I'm trying to find it. Couldn't find it.
It was late getting up, but it did.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there's one to sign on each side of this page.
Yeah.
Or the computer's kind of doing its own thing this morning, so. Okay, so in your packet, you do have a few things I think that pertain to KAC, and this first one, I'll just kind of go in order of the packet today, so I don't miss anything. Is to appoint a voting delegate for the K-Work annual meeting. And that is on the Tuesday at 5:30.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Guthrie to do that.
Second.
Lock you right in, didn't
Right
I?
now, buddy. No rebuttals. Okay, moved and second to appoint the chairman to be the K-Work representative. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So that was a 3-0,
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay. In your packets, you do have the monthly revenue reports from the departments.
Well, just in case, you can go to dinner after you get done that night too, so, for Kirk and Mike.
Do you want to send cake?
Yeah, there's some other KAC stuff in here somewhere. I think it's in a little different order.
Yeah.
You do have your budget reports.
She needs a little quarter. It's on the seat, the back of the seat. I'm pretty sure. Thank you, sir. That's really nice of them. I already had one about that.
Any questions in regard to the budget report?
I have none.
I don't even.
Okay.
Okay. do have the quarterly financial statement for the quarter ending September 30th. And then we have some early checks.
Okay, first one is monthly rent on the planning and zoning building, out of $600. Then we have a lease payment to Tampa State Bank on the ambulances, out of $54,289.32. And our payment to Hillsborough Ford for the 2 new trucks for Road and Bridge, in the amount of $57,572, which were each $28,960 and $28,612. And third quarter sales tax for Park and Lake, out of $63.52 to the Kansas Department of Revenue. And I believe that's it.
Was it right there?
Yep.
Well, throw it, Randy.
This computer is just doing an update, so it's just like flashing like lots of things on the screen during an update, so I'm just gonna. If it stops, I'll put that back on. We do have in your packet on, let's see, it's showing me the page numbers. You have a resolution from the treasurer's office, which would declaring certain delinquent personal property taxes to be dormant and uncollectible, These are over 20 years old and less than $50. And you did a resolution 2 years ago to write those off. And so they've just presented another one to write off any new ones.
So back in the old days, when stuff like that happens, we used to turn that over to a collection agency. And if nothing else, it was a ding in their credit. Do we not have that form of a resource anymore?
I'm not sure what the treasurer's office has available to them to do, but these are just, they're 20 years old.
Yeah, and I would question why we're waiting 20 years. I mean, because if we have a resource to turn them over for collection, I think we should maybe pursue that a little bit.
Should I get Janine so that you can ask her that when she arrives, or?
I can ask her now, or I can ask her after the
I
meeting. It doesn't
she's
matter.
probably, I can bring her in when she gets here. I don't know if she's here yet.
Okay.
On those that old, wouldn't there be some statute of limitations?
Yes, on these
40
particular
years.
ones, you're not gonna, that's what I was saying, so.
Right, but I was just saying why we're waiting 20 years, if there's another resource that we don't
Yeah,
have to.
I mean, I don't believe we are waiting. I know they're trying to collect them and they do all of the steps, but these are the ones that just have not been, and we'll certainly get her in here and you can ask her about what her process is and if there are other things that she can do when she gets here.
I think just to clean up your books and make it look better to the auditors.
I understand that, but I'm just saying to let these people just skate by and have no repercussion, I think is no justice to the county. You know, because they had credit bureaus and collection agencies and things, and that does go against a person's credit. And I think that, I know if I was gonna do business with somebody, I'd wanna know that they haven't paid their bills, you know? I just think it's good business.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you okay with passing this resolution?
Yeah.
For the old taxes? It will be 2013, or 2019-13.
-13?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept and pass the resolution number 2019-13, a resolution declaring certain delinquent personal property taxes to be dormant and uncollectible pursuant to KSA 79-2101, stated as the county treasurer is responsible for the collection of delinquent personal property taxes, and whereas the efforts to effect those collections cause the treasurer to expend resources which could be better directed elsewhere, particularly in those situations involving the collection of taxes in amount of $50 or less. So,
Second.
moved and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I saw a couple of names in there that's deceased.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you know, even though they're deceased,
Yeah.
in order to sell that estate, they would have to pay outstanding debts, I would think.
You would, yeah.
I mean, that's, you know.
Some of them, but a lot of them down there was $5 or less.
But, you know, I don't care what the amount is, you know, if I have a $5 tax, I pay the $5 tax. I mean, the amount is not what I'm questioning.
Yeah,
I'm questioning
I'm not-
what the damage is to the county.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know whatever happened to the guy that ended up owning the schoolhouse in Florence,
Yeah,
because he was in prison for
yeah,
several years, which makes it uncollectible.
yeah. It's just lots of different situations on them, but what Diane's point is we ought to try the most in the first year or two.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying, yes, thank you.
Okay, in your packet, you did have proposed payday and holiday schedule for the county for 2020. And those, there's the paper if you need to look at that. Those are generally adopted or approved by a motion and vote of the commission.
I did see them online.
Yeah.
Oh, we each have one copy.
Yeah, or a copy there. Any question as to where the schedule is set up?
On which one, any payday or? Payday's always the last day, so.
Right.
Do you know what payday
No, I have no problem.
I don't know. I don't have the packet right now in front of me. This is computers.
You had Columbus Day off last week, 14th.
No, district court
District
does, but
court.
not the
District court.
rest of the county.
Judicial.
So, for like Columbus Day, then would that still just include the district court?
Yeah.
That's the way we have it,
Yeah.
unless you all decide you want to expand that.
Okay.
You know, there are a lot of courthouses and stuff that did close on Columbus Day.
Yes.
Because I made some phone calls and they're closed,
Banks.
so I wouldn't be opposed to including that, but.
It doesn't matter to me which way we go on
I mean, it doesn't
that.
matter to me either, but I was just saying that it does, I know for the government, all the way around it is a holiday, but
Any question one way or another, whether to close on
Don't make
Columbus
any
Day?
difference. I mean, it's, what was the post office was closed?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Every bank.
Federal government
Yeah.
recognizes that.
They close every chance they get.
I make a motion, we go with October 12th as a holiday for both county and the, state office here,
Okay. That being the only change to the schedule?
being the only change, yeah.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that a paid holiday?
look, I have a
Yeah.
different page than you have, but I remember, I
No,
read
you
it.
got the payday date.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all right.
I
I
thought
read
you
it,
said-
so it's fine, and that just stuck out to me.
What was your question, Dan?
I wanted to paid holiday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then,
Yes.
so you had one more day
Yeah,
of vacation.
yeah.
Are you okay with adopting then the closing date, or excuse me, the payroll payday dates also? Or were you intending to include both of those in your?
We can do another motion on
Okay,
payday,
thank you.
which has always been the last day of the month,
Yeah, last working day.
or the last working day of the month. I'll make a motion to approve the payday schedule for 2020.
Second.
Move to second, all those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay, in your packet, you had a request from Durham Park Township to appoint a new clerk. They did recommend a name, and we did check, this person is qualified they are a registered voter in township. And this would be to replace Gary Unruh. He moved, and so he has resigned. And so the name of the person who is willing to serve in that role as township clerk for Durham Park is Robert Klein, Klein. And so that appointment is made by a motion vote of the commission.
I know both of them.
Make a
Robert
motion.
would be qualified to do that, so I will go ahead and make a motion to appoint Robert Klein as Durham Park. Very good.
Clerk.
Clerk.
I'll
Is
second
that
it.
a combination or just clerk?
It's just clerk.
Okay.
So I second it.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
You had asked at a previous meeting, when the last time that the county increased the lot rent at the county lake for the trailer park. And that was, we want to put that in your packet, but it was raised from $1,050 a year to $1,200 a year in January of 2013.
I think it's due for an increase.
It's been 6 years.
Does everybody understand what all that includes?
I sure do.
Okay.
It was $1,050 and it went up to $1,200 on that date.
Yes.
So it's basically $100 a month.
No, a year.
No, a year.
A year, I mean,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it didn't go up that much at all then, but we heard enough slack that, that we was gonna sell every trailer out there, and so I'm just telling you, that's what you'll probably hear.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes with the job, I
Yeah.
guess, to protect the county.
Any thoughts?
7 years or 6 years is, I know it's been a while, but I didn't remember how long, so, yeah. Should you take a look again, see if Isaac, he'd been new, whether he can tell us what he think anything to go from, and we had some help at that time.
We can schedule it as an agenda item if you'd like to do that. It's just, you just ask for the
Yeah.
information, I was just providing.
Probably better to schedule it.
And I think I'd like to call some of the surrounding lakes and stuff and see what they charge, just to see where we
It's a little
compare.
different, this, can't find too many like us out there to do it.
It would be similar to a trailer park with,
That's, except that you can't stay only so long.
right, it's
Isn't that-
got different
Mhm.
policy.
So, that's, I think Isaac needs to go over.
It would be, yeah, we might want to schedule that down the road with Isaac.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, I made a note to do that. Okay, the next thing is you all designated Kent as the voting delegate for the K-Work meeting. That's held the Tuesday of KAC at 5:30 PM. 6 o'clock PM on that same evening is the K-Camp meeting, and K-Camp is asking for a voting delegate. In the past, it was Diane Novak with Kent as alternate. So if you want to make a change, you can.
I think that since Ken's gonna be there, he might as well just stay.
I'm the voting delegate for everything. You
Yeah.
don't want to do it?
Well, I was for the last 2 years, so I'm
Okay.
just trying to pass it.
Or do you want to do it, Randy?
Sometimes you can't, can you get out of that first meeting and get to the second one, 5:30 and 6? Sometimes tough, so.
Why don't you
It's in the
consider,
same room, I think.
Oh, is it?
Usually they are.
Well, let's see. Eagle A through D is both of them, so. I don't know if they divide them off.
Yeah.
Or if it's all together.
Sectioned off, A, B,
Okay.
and C. D.
All right,
Yeah. Yeah.
would you like to be the voting delegate?
I'll do that for that one.
I'll make a motion to approve Randy then as the voting delegate.
I'll second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
okay. And so that's at 6 o'clock, and then at 6:30, that's when Kirk and Michael starts their social time, and 7 o'clock they have dinner. They have sent you an invitation, and I do need to RSVP for that. Or is that something that you've all,
Is that other engineering firm having a dinner?
this is the only one I've gotten so far, but you may get others, so.
'Cause I know I attended the other one last week.
Right. Usually I think you get, I think it was Cook Flat Stone Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I haven't seen anything from
Really?
them yet,
Hmm.
so.
I would go for Kirk and Michael's. They got apple pie dessert.
They have a lot of dessert.
I had prime rib,
Yeah, you did have that.
so I wanted to go theirs.
Okay, I can check a little bit later today on the other one.
All right.
Did you have a preference, Diane?
I would go to Kirk Michaels.
Okay, thank you.
Guys,
I do have a few salary sheets here.
Okay, the first one, under the sheriff's department, Bridget Melisa. A 1-year raise as a 911 systems operator from 1462 to 1490. Also, let's see here, under the jail, Bryant Edwards, 6-month raise as a corrections officer from 1308 to 1333. And under the sheriff's department, Joshua Maliza, 6-month raise as a deputy sheriff from 1702 to 1736.
these the only ones? We're not presenting the planning and zoning one today?
You had asked for more information,
Okay, well, I
which
did.
I do have.
Okay, I was gonna say, I did the study on it myself, and I think it's under the old pay plan.
It is.
Okay, so.
And it goes to the 1 year mark on the old
Yes,
date.
I figured that out, and
Okay.
so I would be okay with that.
That was my next thing to discuss.
I just wanted to make sure that we weren't jumping the gun on a new pay plan and nobody else was.
No, we are not. Here's that one.
To keep everybody honest.
Okay, this is under planning and zoning, Sharon Olmsted, 1 year raise as the planning and zoning director from $3,728 a month to $3,952 a month.
And while we're signing that, I wanted to bring something to the attention up here, especially to the two news meetings I think is really interesting. I was over in Junction City for some of my board meetings over there this weekend. Just picked up a Junction City paper, and it's interesting that they publish all the salaries of the employees, name and the title of their job and how much money they're making. And I think that is something we should do here in Marion County. I mean, I think the people have the right to know. I was stunned when I mean, they go into detail, name, person, their job, and how much money they make.
All employees.
It's
Yeah,
public
yeah, here's
information.
some right here, and then there's another whole page goes into them, and, yeah,
Telling you,
all right there.
I've seen it done. The problem is the publishers usually are the final say.
Okay, well.
I'll bring it up again.
You know, it's nice that people are informed. When I was reading this, first off, it's helpful to other counties to see what they're paying. And the public, I think, should have a right to know, and I just want to bring that up. That, I just think it would be something the public should know. And other counties are doing it, so.
I guess we can discuss that.
Yeah, I know it's always.
It has been requested before and provided and printed before. Generally, what we provide though is the name, is the position name and the dollars. Unless they ask for the names, we don't provide that because it's basically by position and it's on a pay plan, so.
So, and they're on a pay plan as well, that's, I did confer that also. But it's easier for public to identify by name, you know, I mean, they're not hiding nothing, and I just think that's really cool. And I will also say that even on my juvenile detention, my 8th judicial board that I'm on, I requested the salaries and the pay of people, and I got the same list, names of the people, years of tenure, salaries, position, the whole 9 yards, nothing withheld. It's amazing information. And it's easy to identify. It's nothing that you have to go in loops and try to figure out who you're talking about or what position.
Can you do it online too? Like, could you?
Well, if they participate, but not all counties participate online. So,
But we could.
well, we could, yeah. But I was just saying as far as keeping the public,
Oh,
and
sure.
that just keeps the public informed.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really neat. It was stunning to see that.
As long as there's no privacy issues or anything like that.
No privacy issues. That's all public information. We do it right here in the board meeting.
If today, if you wanted something, do they come to the county clerk's office to that request a position?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, I thought if anybody requested.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do
It's
we
just
have to
more-
drive up here to request that?
No, you can do it by email or fax or.
But the paper would come to your house.
Yeah. It's just a form of
What's
being
the-
more transparent, I think.
Yes, I
It
think
just
so.
is a public release of being transparent, and it doesn't put people in a position, you know, you come up there and say, hey, I wanna know how much Joe Blow makes, then everybody's like, why do you wanna know that? You know, I mean, you don't say it, but you can, it alleviates all that intimidation.
So I don't have a problem with it.
Just cost-wise, I mean, if it can be online, I wouldn't mind doing that either.
But I think if that's something that they request, I wouldn't think that would be something we'd pay for, would we? Now, that I did not check.
No, if the newspaper requests it, we will provide it, but if we want to publish it, they're going to charge us.
Sure.
Well, right, so
Yeah.
if they request it, it's on their dime, and that's what I was bringing out.
Right.
The paper did this.
Right.
I'm not spending any
Right.
tax dollars.
As you're saying, the paper requested the information from the county, so
Mhm.
there
Yes.
wasn't a charge to the county.
That's
to
what I
do
said,
that.
yes.
It's in article form, so it should be free.
It is
Right.
free.
You know, only if it's like an advertising form or something like that would it not be free.
Yeah, so if, I mean, if the papers in the county request that,
Yeah.
they can
Right.
publish it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I just
You
wanted
go on
to bring
further
that.
and put it online, and then they don't have to request it.
Yeah.
But you know what, there's so many people out there, Jonah, that don't have computers. It's amazing to me is how many don't have it.
No, I'm saying that if you had it online, they wouldn't even have to come here and request it. They could just look it up and put it in the papers.
It's one reason I don't use salaries unless I pick everybody.
Okay, I guess we have a resignation.
Rebecca had asked me just to share that with the commission.
Okay. So we'll be looking for a new deputy for the Register of Deeds office,
Who resigned?
Maggie Schrader.
How long has she worked there?
Not very long, couple months.
Okay.
Her last day was last Friday, so that will be advertised.
Thank you. I have just one other thing. It's getting close to the end of the year, and generally, you have done a Christmas dinner or a Christmas luncheon for the employees. Is that something that you wish to continue this year? If so, then we can get started on getting
Can we
things.
do it at noon last year?
Last year we did it in the evening.
Evenings?
I think that, the preference for most is to do it during the day, and usually we do it on the last working day. It's of the year, so it'd be after Christmas, but.
It was last year also, wasn't it? After Christmas?
I don't believe so. I believe it was before and it was in the evening, but I'd have to look.
Yeah.
I don't remember, I'm sorry.
County line call.
So is that something that you want to continue, and if so, just let me know so that we can start working on it.
I'm in favor of it.
Did we have any, you say the best response was they liked it at noon on the last day?
Yes. Generally, but it doesn't matter to us.
Does that create a problem for some of the employees to be back? You know, some employees are out Road and Bridge and stuff.
What you have done, when you've done it, I don't remember how many years that you've done it this way, but you put it at 12 or 12:30 on the last working day, and then the rest of the day, they do not have to return back to work. So,
I'd make a motion to go back to the last day at 12:30 again and have a dinner.
I'll second that. Okay, been moved and seconded to have an employee appreciation dinner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
all right, we'll work on it. Thank you.
I just want to make one comment. I want to thank our Marion County Clerk Tina Spencer for helping out Morris County through a difficult time over there. I think it was very admirable of her to do that. So, accolades.
I'll add a little bit to that. I believe then our appraiser's office had to go for a day.
We had the personal property coordinator from the appraiser's office did come over, because in Morris County, the clerk's office enters supplements and the appraisers does it here. And so she came over and helped them get caught up on some of those things. So, yeah, we've been trying to help them. Yeah.
I just see it as neighbors helping neighbors, the way I see it, so I think we've been in through the time that I've been here, we've asked our other counties to help us. Clear Junction City, Gary County, they sent the planning and zoning person down to help us. So I appreciate it too.
Okay. Moving on, Road and Bridge.
Morning.
Morning.
All right, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the excavator flare mowers, we went out to bid, asked for more follow-up with them. Here's the actual bid again. I called the Victor L. Phillips that we had, that was a low bid, and they sent me to their guy that takes care of these basically all over the Midwest. Basically told me that they're a Minnesota-based company and they have been for 85 years, so they've been around a long time. Talked about switching of the blades, they're very easy, 1-bolt system. They have the service and availability for parts readily available. They also sell a Fecon, which was actually another bidder, but he said 60% of the sales that they sell for are for this lot, simply because they're less priced. He said very comparable with the two that there are, but he said that's why they sell most of it, simply because of the price. And it was at $31,280, and we have to take it down to get it installed at Victor L. Phillips in Wichita. So whatever that trip down there and back would cost. So, but that was better than the other ones were on there too. So, but I guess, based on that, I felt comfortable with him. He said they would install it, they would come up here and show us how to use it, any safety concerns, operation concerns, or whatever else.
That's
So,
for the track hoe.
yes.
And who's that through?
It's Victor L. Phillips. It's on the second page there. Right down there at the bottom, Victor L. Phillips.
Victor L. Phillips, Wichita.
Yes.
And the total bid price is which one?
It's written on, that one right. Well, what we did was we broke it down and said this is what we want, and they put a price by each one of them. So if you add those prices up.
The 31,280?
Yes. And then all we have to do is our 2 trips to get it to Wichita and back. Which is still considered, I think the next one's like 38,000, then they jump up to 30-some-thousand, or 40-some-thousand, so.
Okay, Commission, what's your wishes?
What's our choices? You have several there.
Yeah. There's one. What is there, 4 of them?
I believe so.
4 of them?
One of the
But you're
cat,
saying that
Victor
the
L.
one
Phillips.
that you have there is the
Well,
lowest.
this is
bid?
Victor L. Phillips also.
Yeah, that's for the is that the Fecon? It's up in the top right corner.
Okay, what's the Fecon?
It's just another brand.
Oh, okay,
They sell 2
okay,
different
but it was
brands.
through the same
Yes.
company?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay,
Yep,
okay,
yep.
okay.
That's the one that was the other model they sell, but it was like up in the
Yeah.
40s.
This is the information that you had reviewed, and it was in the minutes of your September 30 meeting.
And what do you see after purchasing it? Give us some benefits.
This will be very beneficial, especially on our gravel and or dirt roads. Putting this up there, especially for hedgerows, it's almost impossible to try to trim up hedge trees with it, just go up and down the roads. It works for any kind of trees there are, but it's very beneficial for that. It could also be used on paved roads if we wanted to. The problem is running the excavator up and down the paved roads, we'd have to worry about damage, but this could also reach, now way up, it could reach out far to get ground, it'll do ground cover too. Honestly, the 2 options, well, 2 of the options we have for hedgerows, tree lines, and stuff like that is to go in there and go in there and keep them mowed back or whatever, trimmed back, or remove them. They're always going to be there and continue to grow. This is one way for us to go in there and keep those trimmed back. The guy said, obviously it's based on conditions and use and take care of everything else. He said he could fully see this thing 25, 30 years lasting. So, I mean, you'd have to change blades like anything else, but he said other than that, he said they're extremely durable. That's why people get them for that kind of work. But like I said, between putting that on the excavator, I could see him staying busy all winter long. Trees and stuff, because you drive up and down the county roads, you can see that they have it done, and again, the hedgerows are the big problems. If they're regular trees, we can go in there and trim them up a little bit, but those hedgerows just take forever. You get him, even a quarter, half mile long, you give him a couple hours, I think he could hammer out a lot of them.
Does that take the bucket off.
Yes, yes. It's a quick touch operation. All you have to do is take the old, whatever you have there for, put this on there, and then hook up the hydraulic lines. So, and that they're gonna, they will plumb everything, and it'll be ready for us.
And you're wholeheartedly think this is well worth the money?
Yes. Based on what we haven't done in the past and what we need to do, I think this is time saving. The way they've done in the past is kind of taking the excavator bucket and just does this. It creates quite a mess and
Or
stuff.
more.
Yeah, this will be a lot. I mean, if you've ever seen the forestry mulch tear things up, I mean, it really shreds things up. It looks nice. You whether you pick them up, whether you leave them later or whatever else, within a year or two they're gone. And that's the other good thing about it. When you trim them up, you still end up with branches.
Decomposes so much
Yeah,
faster.
yeah. And actually, a lot of that new stuff that they're doing now, wood chips and stuff like that, they're actually using that for erosion control stuff now too. It's just extra weight that gets water on it, allows the grass and stuff to grow, and then it,
In certain situations, would you see that we may have to come back and pick that up? If it's an excessive hedgerow?
if we use the flail, I don't think so. Now, it depends on, the size and volume and everything else, but that's the whole point about using the flail is you don't go in and just hit it all at one time. You just go back and forth and you hit it enough that it makes things pretty small. Obviously that's the best information I have, but to say it's a perfect thing, no, but I don't know what there is. I mean, we can go in there and trim these hedgerows back so much faster than what we could actually go in there and push them out and pile them up or burn them, which would be the ultimate deal. But you look at the cost and the time for that. Plus, you always have to deal with the issues are the trees on our right of way or half on the, you always have to deal with that. So hedge trees were planted and they had a good reason when they were planted, but some of them have worn out their life, you know what I mean? But so.
As far as I'm concerned, I'd make a motion there. Be favor of the small one to try it and see, because
What does that do to the equipment budget then?
We still have the money in there for that. The skid steer you decided to lease, at least up until the end of the year. That is coming. That should be here mid-November. That'd be that $8,000 payment. And then with this here, that would still put us at 100. Even if you purchased the skid steer, that would put us at right at 100,000. And I think we had between equipment and rental, we had 115,000. I think, Tina, is that correct?
I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but it was, so that depends on whatever you want to do, and that does not include, selling out of the Bobcat rack too, so.
Okay, go ahead, Randy.
I'd make a motion to purchase that. I can't say the name of it, but at the price of
It's a Lofness 51-inch battle axe is what it's actually.
Okay, Office 51-inch battle axe with purchase price of $31,280. We'll have to make 2 trips to get it mounted.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right,
So it's a battle axe.
it's a battle axe, yeah. That's what they call it. I thought it was kind of cute too, so. But-
I don't know, you want to see what the copy of that?
On to more equipment, we had contacted John Deere and they actually provided I think it was a 72-inch flail mower, 3-point hookup on the back of a tractor that they brought in for us to demo. Had 2 operators along with John Deere guys out there. Same situation, has the flails instead of the rotary blades on it. Both operators loved it, think it'll do great. So that's something we're gonna look at, probably not by the end of the year, but something we'll turn around next year. The other thing that's very beneficial about it is this one here just slid like 18 inches, towards the right. I think we'll be better off beneficial, and the operators agreed, they actually make some that they're hydraulically, you can actually slide them out on the outside of the tractor, which is great, because right now if we're driving with our wing mowers and everything else, it's behind the tractor and out there, so we gotta be careful not hitting the windrows or whatever else are there. When they go around a bridge, they have to drive clear out in there. With this hydraulically operated one, we can get outside, we'll leave the tractor up on the roadway, we'll slide it out to get where we need to be out there. And then when they get to the bridge, they leave the tractor going, they can just pick it up and slide it back in. So we're not going clear out into the other side of the roadway. They can do the same thing for signs, guardrails, whatever else. So I think that's something we're gonna look at. They also make one, we're having a heck of a time with our boom mowers right now. The Tiger mower, nobody knows for sure how old it is. The John Deere is an 07. Both of them are probably, based on the work they've done, that John Deere tractor has just been, I don't know what it is. It's been in the shop so much for overheating and all kinds of things. That talking about it, what I'm kind of looking at is we may want to take both of those tractors and both of those boom mowers, get rid of them and get a tractor and this one flail mower. But they also make PTO driven boom mowers with the flails on, just like these would be with the rotary mowers. We put the flails on. What we're finding out, that new bush hog already that we got last year, we went to put some new blades on it. Coming to find out, we actually had a sectional loss in the pins holding the blades from them spinning around and stuff like that. Even the manufacturer said they couldn't believe that. But I mean, we're starting to lose a little bit of sectional loss. It hasn't even been a year since we've been using this thing.
Losing what?
Basically taking a round bolt, and with that bolt going around, with that motor blade going around so much, it actually wears that bolt like as much as, I would say, 1/8 of an inch. But if we didn't by chance happen to catch it soon enough, it's one of the things where if the bolt gets thin enough or gets hot enough, it may break and send the blade flying. So that was, and that's the bad thing about rotary mowers, or the rotary mowers. Now, to say that we don't need the rotary mowers, for instance, like on Indigo and stuff like that, they work great because it's flat enough, we can get out far enough. But most of the other roads we work, we don't have that luxury. And if you're out there hitting stuff, whatever else, they just get tore up. They're not really made for that. They're made for the nice mowing. The other thing is, obviously with these two mowers, one thing that would be beneficial to us is if we got another tractor and we got both this PTO flail mower right behind there plus the PTO boom mower, is that we could swap either one we wanted to. Have one good tractor and put one other. I also talked with Isaac at the county lake, and I said maybe we could go together because I think it'd be extremely beneficial for him too, to be able to reach out there in some of those places to mow things and knock them down and stuff like that. So maybe we could work together on some budget items or whatever else to, that way, he'd have, because they already have the tractor too. Like I said, we'd get a good tractor. That way we'd have, we could swap that thing back and forth and use it. So, like I said, I actually have pictures and a video and everything else if you'd like to see it sometime. Like I said, both guys really loved it because it was, the other good thing about it is the durability of hitting things is, with the rotary mowers, if you, obviously you guys have seen out there when they mow, they kick a whole bunch of stuff out on the road, grass and debris and everything else. These flails don't. It just stays right there. I actually have pictures out behind John Deere by mowing through there. The amount of grass that's left by the rotary mowers compared to the flail mower, it's almost non-existent. So it does do a lot better job of getting rid of the, if we're using the rotaries going through like a plum thicket or heavier like sunflower seed, stuff like that, it really whacks them. These flail mowers just go right through it. So, like I said, it's something I'm going to look at. But anyway, John Deere did bring that up, and we got to demo it, so I think it worked real well. So, something we're going to look at. Last week, we were able to demo a John Deere 650 dozer with a 6-way blade, and we did it south of Highway 50 on Alfalfa, down at one of the less Lawalettes. That area has been flooded so many times, and that we thought maybe we could go and just do it with blades. Come to find out, every several inches we took off there just turned to mush. So John Deere was gracious to give us that demo that dozer for 2-3 days with that 6-way blade, and I think it would save tremendous amounts of time and possible wear and tear and damage on our motor graders. Motor graders are meant to move material around, not to dig that wet, sloppy material out of there. We were getting them stuck and everything else. This little dozer, it's got what's called LGP, a lighter track to it. That 6-way blade just goes in there and starts mucking that stuff out. And I really think if we go to rebuild a lot of these other dirt roads that have been flooded and swampy areas, I think it'd be a godsend. that they're telling me I can get a brand new dozer with a 6-way blade on state contract for about $100,000. Now, we could turn around, buying a used one, 5 years old is what you're gonna get that price is. So, that's something else I'm gonna look at too for next year. Like I said, John Deere allowed us to demo that. Cat's actually letting us demo one up on Indigo right now. Same thing, it's roughly 100 to 110 horsepower. I think that's probably a little big than what we need because I like to have more of the versatility to get in there. But the guys that ran them love them. You know, they can push a bunch of material. And I said I think it's going to take a lot of wear and tear and stuff on the top of the blades too for rebuilding roads. So something to look at. As I said before, the skid steer should be here in middle of November. Diamond Vista update. We did not have a weekly meeting last week. The on-site guy had a medical issue, and Jeff said he didn't really want to make any comments or adjustments or whatever else since his guy wasn't there. So we moved to this Thursday. Based on the meeting 2 weeks ago, they want us. We've got the inspection or the list now of stuff that needs to be done. Now they want us to do the inspection. The post-construction, which we've talked about whether to do that in phases or whatever else, and I think Brad's been involved saying that, yeah, he was okay with us doing the post-construction, and then we'll make that list, and then they said, well, when we get done with that, we want to have a punch list. So basically, we'd be at 3 lists. That was at their request. I think it's 1 or 2 many lists, but
Whose request?
at the now.
Oh, that they were.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. The biggest thing we were just talking about trying to get into to finish the roads and get accepted. Well, they have basically said now everything's ready to be inspected. This is all prior to the roads being re-scarified and everything else. They want us to do the post-construction, then they want to come back and rework the roads, then they want a punch list. And I guess my only comment is if they're out there reworking the roads or whatever else and they damage something and we've already said, well, we've already done the post-construction, are you gonna say, well, you've already accepted it? Don't know. They are a real big push. They want us, in fact, as they're sending us emails, they had a spreadsheet saying that as of October 9th, everything was done. Well, the October 9th spreadsheet said they weren't gonna finish till the 14th. So there's a big push there too. So I guess we're up to the commission's decision on how you want to proceed. I mean, they say everything is done. It's going to take a set. The agreement said that the post-construction had to be done within 30 days. I don't know if it said started or ended, but it's going to take some time to do that. Basically going through and inspecting, taking pictures, crawling in the pipes, drainage issues, whatever the case may be. But I don't know.
Would you be willing to do a construction, final post-construction without signing off and say out of our post-construction, this is the punch list?
It's all open.
Yeah.
I look at the fact is going back and re-scarifying all these roads and everything else could take, it depends on how much equipment you throw at it, could be anywhere from a week to a month. There's just an awful lot of roads out there. The agreement actually called for a 3% cross slope and all that other stuff, and if you drive up there, you won't see that. It's all over the place. There's extra rock. This is just stuff that they're throwing at us, and I can sit here and make all the recommendations I want. We had talked about getting with Brad to settle this up and everything, and I don't know whether the commission has got with Brad or whether that's something to discuss later on. So like I said, we're kind of in a holding pattern, I guess, depending on what you guys think.
So I wanted to ask you a question. You said the meeting prior, was there a meeting this past week?
That's the one that was, this
Just
last
this
Thursday
past
was not
Thursday.
done. The one I'm talking about was from the week before that.
Right, was there
Yeah.
a meeting though this past week?
No,
Okay, and so, why was there no meeting this past week?
because the on-site guy had a medical issue and wasn't able to be there. And since he wasn't there to verify or document anything there, they didn't, because I made the comment, so what are we gonna have a meeting on if you're not going to, you know, talk about anything on the project? There's really not much to have a meeting at. We can sit here and talk about lists all they want to, but without Chuck, he says, I don't wanna comment or make any agreement unless Chuck's aware of it, so. Whatever the medical reason was, I didn't ask, but.
I'll bring it about that in a
Yeah.
little bit. So I was gonna say, and I called you on Saturday,
Hmm?
and I hate to call people on Saturday, but everything happened on Saturday. So I personally witnessed on Saturday, as I was going down 330th heading to Salina, loaded trucks of rock
Mhm.
coming out of the lay yard onto 330th, and then they headed north. Now, as I approached that and I seen these trucks going, and I have multiple pictures of this happening, and this is a no-no, according to 330th, they're not supposed to put those heavy trucks on there. And just half a mile south, they had their 320th, which was their haul route that they could have easily used. But there was multiple trucks. I pulled up, I seen the back end of one going, and then I pulled off to the road, and then I seen the other one pull out, loaded with rock, and then another one pulled out and stuff, and I got pictures of all that. So, the point that I'm trying to make is they're not abiding by the road maintenance agreement anyway. Here they are driving heavy equipment and lots of it, and not only is it the amount of the weight, but it is the volume, and there's a lot of volume. Well, what I did was, I got the pictures of the truck, and since they went north and I was headed to Salina anyway, and normally I'd go across the Roxbury Road, but I thought I'm gonna follow them. At least ways up to the interstate in Abilene, and then I'll go my way, and wherever they go, it's their business. Well, anyway, they went to Abilene, just south of Abilene, there's a RV park there, and they're dumping all the rock in that RV park. And obviously, the three trucks that I witnessed, there's already a massive pile, so they've been hauling for a while. And if they've been using that same route, now the question is, and I'll bring this up to Brad a little bit later, that's actually a violation fine deal that we should be pushing upon them for doing that. We're gonna end up paying on that road whatever damage is gonna be caused on that. But that also tells, now they hired Everett Trucking, that's who the trucks were, they hired an outside company to come in and do that for them. I mean, and they can do with their rock what they want, I don't care where they take it. But my point is that they're already, again, violating the road maintenance agreement by utilizing roads that are definitely not allowed to be used.
These were hired by the wind farm, or were they hired by private individuals that
No,
wanted?
by the wind farm, they were hired by the wind farm.
Let me follow up that. I got, obviously, the text from Diane. I went up there myself and actually witnessed it also. I sent an email to everybody saying, hey, this is what's happening. Cease immediately. Didn't hear anything until this morning when I got an email from Jeff, said, well, where were these trucks going from? And I told him, and he goes, okay, I'll check into it. So whether he knew about it or not, I don't know.
But
You know.
shouldn't that rock be used to fix the roads?
Again, that's their road to.
Yeah,
to
that's
do-
their
that's
rock.
their
That's their rock,
to do
so
it.
they
Yeah.
But, like she said, it is a violation of the agreement.
And then secondly, with our road still not being completed, would you just not think it would be ethical to take care of us first before they were to just, now it's not, you know, like I said, they can do with their rock what they want, but it just shows to me a lack of ethics here, a lack of demonstrating their commitment to taking care of our roads. Instead, they're giving it away or selling it or whatever it's
Well, I'm
doing,
sure-
I don't know.
yeah, I'm sure there's some. The other thing that's been brought up too, I forgot that in the last meeting, was we have some haul roads that were designated, or I should say some roads that were designated haul roads that haven't been fixed or whatever else. Well, now according to the spreadsheet they sent back, said, well, since we didn't use those, we now no longer have to fix them up. But to follow that up, Tanner, this was discussed way back when, and Tanner followed up with it and said, so you want to take these roads off of the agreement, is that correct? No response. So he did follow up. The fact is, if they wanted to do that, we could have done that officially, but nothing. We just got the spreadsheet saying that they weren't gonna fix them up because they didn't use them.
So have they given you the opportunity to get any of that rock?
We had talked about, they had asked the question whether they could use that rock to fix the roads, and after discussion with Tanner and I, we agreed, because the rock's there, it's approved rock and everything else. But again, they're saying that they think everything's ready to go and they want us to inspect it.
But see, and the thing is too, another thing I think the commission needs to understand, this was done on a Saturday. And as soon as I seen this, I did call David, quickly couldn't get a hold of him, it was a Saturday, and I called Tanner, and I couldn't get a hold of him. And I did call Bryce, now Bryce responded right away, but then I did get, Tanner and David did call me back, nobody knew about it. They're doing it on a Saturday when nobody's there behind the scene, and they have the lay yard, I mean, there's still a lot to go, but they are clearing the lay yard out, in preparation of ending up the project, and so on and so forth. I understand that that's probably not necessarily outrageous or anything, it's part of the deal and stuff, and that's fine, I guess, you know, but my point that I think, okay, so by doing stuff in stages is probably not gonna work, cause you're at a crunch right now, cause they wanna get out of here and do it, so, the second thing that I want to point out, I think our next recourse is, because I personally have no faith whatsoever in them doing this correctly. Tina mentioned the other, meeting or something, we do have the bond, or not the bond, but the letter of credit. It seems to me as though we should at least start pursuing a little bit of that, so that we have, because when that expires at the end of December, do I have any faith in them renewing that for us? Not. So I think that's more of an option that we need to go to, at least get down pat what we need to do to call in some of that money on the letter of credit, so that we do have plan B to take care of our taxpayers. It's a mess, I mean, they're doing whatever they wanna do.
May I respond? Since accusations are thrown out every week at Annell, and no one from Annell gets a chance to respond. First of all, the rock that was hauled out, which Diane followed, glad you're on the spot, watching
Certainly
everybody
am.
every minute. But it was not sold. It was not Annell's rock. It was going to where one of the employees lived at the RV park. It was not sold rock. And it was a handful of trucks. So you
And
can-
I seen the pile, I mean, it didn't go to a residence,
Okay.
it went to
Do
the
you have a
re-
picture of the pile?
I do,
Okay.
I certainly do.
I'm just doing what I'm told.
I was sure
what
you
I
did,
hear.
wanna see the picture, cause I
I'm
got
curious
many.
that it wasn't in Nell's rock, but if it was coming off.
Now,
the-
once it is loaded onto the truck, it belongs to whoever's having the rock hauled. We've had this
Oh,
discussion
David,
about
please.
landowners,
Yeah,
because a lot of rock is going to local landowners. And that's actually why they sent me down, is because a lot of the local landowners being harassed, being pulled over and getting licensed, and where are they going, being followed home. So local landowners are getting rock, that's going out to them now.
So David,
But
here's
because
the
of this-
picture of the pile.
Okay,
That
so
is
Bryce,
not,
how much rock do you think is there?
how many of those would you say? Now, this right here is,
whatever that is, maybe. I
that's
don't
an
know,
unfair
4 or 5,
question,
Somewhere around
Okay,
there.
about 4 or 5 loads.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
and that's a
It's tough to tell.
guess, okay? But
Okay,
if they
so
only
again,
started
it's not
Saturday
Annell's
morning-
rock, it was not sold to Annell. Landowners are getting rock, they're being harassed. I just would like if the two commissioners would commit to allowing local landowners to haul
Two
rock.
commissioners, you see how
Two
they single you
commissioners?
out? They do that, they know
Well,
you
okay,
have.
the ones that don't have conflict of
But I mean,
interest.
I
that
don't
was
know
our.
how I have a conflict of interest, David.
Did your husband sell straw to the project?
Did you approach him and give him a price for him? You approached
Did-
him to sell that.
Yes, and did he haul it on non-haul routes?
He has permission to do
Okay.
everything.
So,
No, he got
I
permission
would
to
ask
do
for two
everything.
commissioners to again emphasize to the consultant.
besides, there was
that
a farm
landowners
truck.
be able to haul.
Okay, I mean,
Compare the weight of straw to the.
all along, it's
They're
been,
legal loads.
all along, it was our intention that the landowners would get
Yes.
access.
Yes.
Have the ability to
Yes.
get that.
Yes,
Well, I don't think they should be
Right.
harassed.
right. Now,
And
this,
they're not.
okay. Do we have that clear that landowners can haul rock?
We made that clear a couple months back, or a couple weeks back, that they could.
Right.
But now, see, you have a
Because-
landowner
Because of the
too.
issues coming up with Kirk and Michael, they're ready to shut down rock to landowners.
Okay, so David, please explain to me. So you're saying that the landowners are buying this rock?
They
or
are not buying
giving
the
it to
rock.
They're giving it to the landowners?
They are not buying the rock.
Okay, so Annell is giving them the rock.
Yes.
And in order to do that, they're driving across 330th, taking it up to Abilene, so the landowners down here can get the rock. Am
Abilene
I
is a
right? Is
separate
that what you're
situation.
saying?
That is a separate situation.
Well, I'm afraid that that's not what you're saying.
Okay, then I guess Nell's just gonna shut off rock to all the local landowners.
Well, you know, you can be spiteful if you wish. I'm simply saying the rock that I see, I showed you a picture of what I saw.
5 loads.
I don't know how many loads it is, I never, and it's more than 5 loads, because I seen 3 of them. I seen 3 before this pile. This first truck that you see here,
Okay,
that
how
rock
about-
was, those 5 loads were already there, if it was 5, before these ones that I witnessed dumped it.
Okay, how about we focus on the landowners and then we'll deal with the 5 loads. and
Well, first off,
Adeline
David, I have to
separate.
say, we also have to say, David is not qualified to represent. This is a county issue, and David is simply the liaison between him and the landowners. Now, if you wanna talk about giving the landowners the right to buy rock, to get rock free, whatever, that's fine. But as far as these loads of rock on the 30th, we can't discuss that with you, I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough.
But I mean,
will you
they can
allow
give the
rock
rock to
landowners?
whoever they want.
Yes, they may, but they
Right.
can't go until the 30th.
And they
Well,
did.
once it's loaded
and
on
they,
the truck.
They did not contract with whoever that was
No,
to do
and they'll
that
have no
for this
involvement.
individual.
No.
He's taking care of that himself.
Yes.
Well, that's a fish story, I tell you.
Call me a liar.
I said it's a fish story, I didn't call you anything, you did.
Shade. Thank you.
I think the only thing that I see, Dave, is that we're trying to get them out of here.
Yes.
And that rock there on our roads, in some of our spots that we've got
Yes.
quite a few,
Yes.
looks bad.
Yes.
To me.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying that,
Yes.
that I think that rock should have probably, it helped us get the situations taken care of so they can get out, and I hope they understand that. I mean,
And-
it's,
And part of the issue also is the rock on the laydown yard is a poor quality rock. What they're picking up for rock to use on the county roads is coming up on the access road.
So you said it's poor quality, he just said that it was qualified. I mean, one of the stories is correct, one
It's
is not.
less quality. They're using the higher quality rock on county roads.
And that's what we agreed to, it had to be.
Yes, it's gonna be a higher quality
Yeah,
rock.
yeah.
But you just said that the rock on the lay yard was suitable to go onto the road.
That pile they had, whatever,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
so-
it's a separate, it's on
Yeah.
the laydown yard.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's our cematics. It's a pile of rock on the laydown yard. It's a higher quality rock that's coming up and that's going to the county roads.
But if it's free for the county landowners to use and access and follow off as they see fit, whatever, then why is it going to Abilene, just a question?
That's one we're gonna work on separately.
Okay.
Find out the answer to
Sure.
that. I wanna focus on the
Would
land.
that be another reason they wanna hurry up these inspections to get it done so they can go ahead and damage the
Well,
roads after
let's
the
get back,
inspection?
let's get back to this rock situation. I mean, there's never been a landowner that's been turned down to get any rock.
They've been pulled over.
They've been pulled over
Like
by
Kirk and
Kirk and Michael.
Yes.
He's talking about that one instance that we had, the last meeting that we had. One time that this landowner did take a semi-truck or a big truck, and he did load it up, and Kirk and Michael did stop him and ask him not to go on this one road, that it was off the haul route, that they could go around this other way. That's what they're calling harassing. When Kirk and Michael simply told them that they should not be on this road, that they need to take their rock a different route. Okay? Now, Road and Bridge tells our taxpayers and landowners all the time, this road is bad, we're gonna close it, or it's whatever, we're not gonna rock it, you need to go around this way to get to your house. So for them, Kirk and Michael was doing their job, what we hired them to do. He wasn't rude or ugly to the person, they just, and I talked to several people about this, I mean, and I talked to the man, in fact, who hauled it, who was hauling the rock. And yes, he was upset because he wanted to take the shortest route where he wanted to deliver it naturally. So I explained to him about the route, the contracts and things like that, and he understood, but at the time, he didn't know about that.
didn't understand.
Yes,
It's Doyle Weaving.
Excuse me?
Doyle Weaving.
yes, Doyle Weaving is correct.
Okay, so that, I mean, that certainly becomes an issue when somebody wants to go haul rock, and when it's loaded, it becomes theirs. And I guess their contention is, I'm not under the road maintenance agreement.
That's correct.
So that's really the issue.
Yes.
Well, that's not even been addressed in the road maintenance agreement. We never addressed that in the road maintenance agreement when private citizens get rock, how they can haul. That's not in the road maintenance agreement.
The
I'm,
landowner's
you know,
rock.
I'm just saying, we never tackled that issue in the road maintenance agreement, so.
So then, I mean, it's for us to tell them they can't drive down 330th or whatever. We really can't because it's not addressed in the road maintenance agreement.
But you can go either way. You can go either way with that because you did the same thing at the beginning. I'm just simply saying we need to make a policy on it, a rule on it or whatever, because we never did. So you can't blame Kirk and Michael, you can't blame the farmer, you can't, we
That's
don't
why-
have a
That's
situation.
why we're asking for clarification.
Yeah, so we have no policy on that. I mean, it was our intent to let the landowners get the rock.
Did you take action on that the last time? I can look back and research that for you, because if you took official action last time to exempt those landowners going to get the rock, from the road maintenance agreement, it seems like you discussed it and you may have taken an action.
So if
So
we,
I'll
if,
look back to check that.
if they then exempt them, we can't keep them off of it.
Can I say one thing? They're commercial trucks, you can't.
And
They're hired commercial
like you
trucks.
said, I guess that's a separate issue in itself.
Bryce,
Keep them off.
are any of those, the off-route roads weight restricted or have bridges with weight restrictions?
That's why they have the haul road. She's talking about they can go, instead of going north of 330 to half mile, they go south a half mile to 320 over to K-15. That's the designated haul route into the lake.
Yeah.
Right,
So it's a
330
half
doesn't
mile.
have
It's a half
restrictions.
mile.
Stands a different deal.
Other than the agreement?
I don't believe it does for that mile.
If they're going north, it costs them a half a mile.
Well, I guess we need to clarify that, because the way that I understood it was once it was loaded onto a landowner's truck or whoever they gave it to,
Right.
they can haul it.
That was our understanding until all the emails this morning.
And so, David, I have to ask you this too, because this, I don't even know why you're bringing it up, because I remember we did discuss it and we did agree. We agreed to allow the landowners to do that. Nobody has said anything to me in the last month that the landowners were not receiving their walk or not able to get their walk.
You're copied on all the Kirk and Michael emails, from what I understand.
There's tons of people who are copied on them. What does that have to do with the price of peas? I mean, you're throwing all these irrelevant issues into anything, so what?
I'm asking one question.
And you're wrong, in fact. I am not copied on all of them.
Okay, I'm asking one question.
Go ahead, Dave.
Can landowners haul rock out? If you're not gonna allow it, then the discussion's over.
I thought we okayed it already.
How do you take a formal action for
Does
it?
that include
Well, I'm
commercial
gonna have to
traffic?
look back and see
Yeah.
what they did in the minutes.
Okay, because it'll pretty much wrap up by the end of the week.
Does that include commercial trucking?
I would assume if they're legally loaded.
So the landowner hires the commercial truck to haul a rock, and does less damage than your company hauling it?
It's,
Is that what you're
legally-
saying?
Legally loaded rock.
That's what he's
Yeah, I
saying.
mean,
Yeah,
like you
so-
said, there conceivably you're gonna have a landowner and he's gonna say, neighbor, take your semi and go get that for me.
Because everybody's busy with harvest and seeding right now. It's illegal.
But you know, they had all this time to do it. This is not something that just happened yesterday.
And you're pushing for them to be completed in the middle of next week.
I'm not pushing for them to do anything, David. When did I say they had to be done by the end of next week, the middle of next week? No, you said it. I mean, you're talk about throwing accusations around. I never said
I
that.
come back to my one question. Can landowners haul rock out or not?
Tina already answered your one question. She's gonna check it out, how we took care, because we did discuss it, and Tina's answered your question several times. And she'll get back with
Another
you.
fine point we want to remember is any rock hauled one way or the other goes on the route.
Sure.
Yeah.
Still weighs the same.
Yeah.
Too late for that now.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, so I can tell them they can haul out on 320th and then stay on the route?
Yes, well, why not?
I mean, that's the way I see it.
Okay, that's what I'll do.
They can haul
I would hope though that if this rock is anything usable day, that it goes on our roads. I mean,
Well, we want to use the good stuff, not because.
there is some that's not.
Yes.
Okay, it's been laid down, it's been used, got a lot of dirt with it probably and
it.
like
But
that.
we have access to it, we can get it.
Well, they told us that if they asked if they could use that on our roads to fix our roads, and we said yes, as long as it was that rock.
Right.
And then just one other thing, as far as our procedure, what it has been before, and I don't know if you've had to deal with this yet, Bryce, but Josie was, prior. When we did have a confirmed violation of the RMA, that was going, the Road and Bridge Department and Kirk and Michael were reporting that to Pat Hughes, and he was the one that was invoicing the company for those and to tell them to pay it. And so, if we do have this as a confirmed violation, are you okay with us utilizing that same process? Or do you, because that's how we have handled it every single time in the past.
I think we'll talk to Bryce about that and see how he wants to go going forward. I mean, I guess I have no issue with it.
I mean, you have a
It's gonna be-
process in place, I just didn't know
Yes.
if Bryce has been
No.
part of
I
one of those.
I read that
yet,
in
so.
agreement, but you know, that's how it works, we'll stick with that. So. But, anyway,
I mean, that way, if we do confirm that this is a violation, then that's what we would do to get the payment, so.
Okay,
I think as it sits right now, they can haul it.
on the hall route. And that's what you just said, right, on the hall route?
Yep.
And to their homes.
Excuse me?
And to their homes,
Right,
On the hall routes, yes.
because some of them do not live on the hall.
right. They're gonna have to get off of it to get it.
In the
to their-
meantime, I will check to see what action we took previously.
Are you clear on that, Randy?
On the hall, that they're.
They'll have to get off of the haul route to get it to the, some of them are gonna have to get off of the haul route to get it to their location.
But if it's the case, what Diane's just speaking of right then, where, and then we've determined already that it's a private company coming in, that the rock has either been given or,
We'll have to research that.
yeah.
If it's
And
violation.
I think, appreciate if they go back the haul route, Dave, and
Sure.
it's cost them the extra mile, we'd have it.
I'll tell the landowners that.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that, I would think.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone clear now?
Are you happy, David, now? Got it all solved?
I see a smile on your face.
Not as big as yours.
Okay.
all right. At the meeting 2 weeks ago, you had that, bill for damage. Did you ever follow up with the people on the damage, where it was, when it was? and
I
stuff?
was just told to give you the bill, which is what I did, but I do
Yes.
know where it was, yes.
Okay, because we had asked for you to give us more information or whatever,
No.
contact with the people.
No, I was just told to hand it over to you, that you would send it to the insurance, and that's
Right.
why I gave you the bill.
But you said you were gonna follow up with us to let us know, because there was no, what was it, there was no location or when it happened.
Okay,
and all
well, I
that
know exactly the location.
Okay.
And you can drive on that road right now, 330th, and I
Mhm.
just drove on it again this weekend, going to a pasture to Burdick, and that big hole goes 2/3 of the way across 330th. I hit it
Where at?
myself.
Where at?
I don't know exactly the road, I'll get that to you today. I didn't pay attention to the sign,
Time.
I will do that.
I mean, because that's what the insurance company's gonna wanna know when and where.
I can get all that for you,
Okay.
yes, I'm sorry, I must have dropped that ball then.
Okay.
I'll take the blame for that one. But
Okay.
it's there,
All
I'll
right.
get you all the information you need.
Okay. The last couple of weeks, we've been doing some rebuilds. We did alfalfa south of 50, going down to the bridge replaced. Turned out real well. I got rocked last week. They're happy with it. We're also gonna go up do some repair work, rebuilding on Indigo and 370th. And we're also doing an area down at 110th, the Highway 50. Try to get rid of some of them bad spots there. Mark Jones retired last Wednesday after 44 years, so gotta replace another one there, so. The KDOT bid letting Thursday, Emery Sapp and Sons was a little bit on that pavement removal up on 5677 up here, so. We told them we'd be interested in the rock again, so we're gonna try to find a place to put the rock and keep it off of KDOT. Up there, we're working on that. They won't start that till probably April next year.
Did you say 1/10 to 15 or to Highway 50?
Highway 50. From Wagon Wheel to Highway 50.
That washout right
Yep.
there by
Okay.
50.
Okay.
And needing repair.
Yeah, we're
3-4
redoing
years.
some ditches and digging new ditches.
If you contact the owner on the north side, or south side of the
Yep.
road, Randy Savage, okay,
Yep.
I think he will work with us.
Oh, he was all for it,
Okay.
so.
Good.
Everybody drives them down that road is all for it, so.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
you-
supposed
you
to have
can't-
gotten
you-
done by now, but it
Yeah,
hasn't.
you can't really swing anything down there without hitting a Savage around there, because one of the other ones stopped by too, so, but,
Mr. Robinson.
yeah, Mr. Robinson's there too,
He
so.
would,
Yeah.
has done a lot to keep
Oh,
our
yeah.
ditch
Yeah,
clean and
yeah.
stuff like that too.
Yeah, and I totally understand. I mean, it was a flooding issue that has caused a problem. We down there with the equipment today. Hopefully, the next couple of days we can get her.
Okay.
And I wanna thank you for that.
Yeah, well, just stuff needs to be done. So
It's looking good.
Yeah. So, and the only other thing was we had a request to get some more millings out of the county lake. They're going for those private drives and stuff on the east side of the lake over there. I guess my question is, if we're going through all those millings, do we keep millings out there, or how many loads of millings do we take out there?
You just said some private drives, we're not doing private drives.
Well,
Roads.
the roads, I mean, the roads out there, they're private all the way around. It's just that
Yeah.
In the past, they've had millings, and I've had requests to take millings out there, and they're going away faster than we can take them
Well,
out
are they
there.
doing the same thing that they're doing with the rock? One guy with a dump truck and a tractor and load the
They-
whole thing up?
They have done that. That's what Isaac said.
They have, now
So-
Isaac has said that he has stopped that though, that
Yeah.
they will load. So don't know, you know, they'll put
How
it
it's
in.
going,
We
yeah.
discussed that right here with Isaac, and that was an issue, but I think Isaac has that under control, that that's
Yeah, it's
not
just-
gonna continue.
You know, I mean, it's, again, I'm being asked to take stuff out there. Do we need to keep a pile out there? Do we not? I mean, it's one of those things, if we keep taking them out there and they're gonna keep getting used and everything else, and they're technically private roads, so.
Can I say something?
Dave?
I visited with them out the lake, and one guy has a truck, and the neighbors are helping neighbors do different spots. There's only 2 people able to haul with a truck out there, and they'll volunteer and using it. Instead of Isaac taking his loader tractor and running around the lake with one bucket full. It's more efficient for the neighbors to help each other.
That's
So
something
I
we-
think Isaac is gonna
Yeah.
load it instead of self-loading.
Yeah, we didn't, that's something that we didn't know, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Well, I knew some of them doing that, but I didn't, but that is.
It's not all going to one guy's spot.
Right.
It's-
I think we've taken 4 trucks out there this year, and they're all gone, so.
And you know, the roads out there have been neglected for a long time, not your fault. You
Right.
haven't been- you haven't been
And I
part of it.
understand, but that's my whole point is, you know, private roads, how much does the county help out to, you know? I guess when all this was started, they got some millings off of one of the projects that was milled up around here 10, 12 years ago, and really nothing since then. But like I said, millings are very valuable to me because, you know, they're even better than rock and stuff like that. And, you know, I just gotta kind of look at my resources and, you know, protect those too, so.
I don't think you can take millings out there. You need to just keep giving them rock. Because you can't take enough.
Well,
Take 20 loads to
That's
take
what,
care
you
of
know,
it.
that's my question is how far do I go, you know?
And the only thing we ran into a problem with that, Dave, is in some of the areas, and we've been, and you'll probably test to this, you know this, we put the rock there, but then when you get the rain, the rock
Oh,
washes
yeah.
right off, or washes into somebody's yard. and
But we
then
put
the-
millings
but the
out there
millings
years
don't do
ago
that.
when we had plenty.
Yeah.
And they put it on right, they put it on thick.
Well,
And
I
it's
just,
finally,
well, I don't
just
know.
went away after 20 years.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
so.
you just have to use priority.
Well, like I said, when it comes to, you know, millings, we try to hang on those as much as we can, so.
Yeah, and-
Now, if we do get approval on this job for 190th, I had planned on doing a mill there, so that was part of my plan was to rebuild the millings probably anytime.
So I would ask if we could do something like maybe take 2 more loads out and make it clear this will be the end of, for this year. That way people have advance notice
Okay.
that this is it, we can't do any more.
It's good.
We gave you all we can
As
give.
long as it
and then
doesn't
some.
limit you, that's fine.
Well, I mean, that's, everything limits me, but with just, like I said, if I keep hauling, then I don't have any left. And-
Yeah.
Because honestly, we use the millings when we have rock outcroppings on our county roads. You can't like put rock in there to stay, but if you put the millings, it tends to heal over top. It makes them a lot better.
I agree with that. Two more loads and that's it for the year.
Okay.
And I've never heard back from the KDOT engineer.
Okay.
I've called him at least 4 times, so I don't know.
I don't know either. Definitely frustrating there too.
Yeah.
So, because it's getting to the time of year where, you know, those guys are gonna start winding down. I'd like to get something lined up if we could go out there and get
Yeah.
the crush and get it hauled off. And,
I don't know who else you can contact.
well, I have another
Okay.
contact. And I will follow up.
Okay, so,
Do we charge them then if they're putting on private roads? I mean,
No.
I've got a driveway you can do with millings anytime you
yeah, you
want.
can do a test run.
Anytime.
Roads around the county lake is more or
Wait a
less
minute.
private, they've never been, they're not officially to the width and everything, they're paths, but they actually are private roads, I mean.
It's a different animal.
it's a-
My driveway's private
yeah.
too.
Yeah, so, that's,
Anything else, Brian?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Okay, is Gayla Ratson available? Oh, that's not
Good morning, Dave.
Is in there.
Cleared them all out.
Morning.
Yeah.
Don't quarry him, huh?
Just here for my quarterly update, and last week began prescription drug enrollment, and I kind of put that off because of our annual meeting, and so today's booked solid, and I go to Hillsborough tomorrow and Peabody on Friday, and so just kind of jumped right into that. This year we had 35 farmer market checks. Did not give them all out this year, only gave out 29 of the 35. Also this past quarter, I've done about 21 pre-retirement counseling with individuals, and that's about the average of what I've been doing about every quarter. I have, since the weatherization application, you did some information about that. I've helped some people with that, so hopefully they can benefit from that. Just a little update about our senior centers. Marion now has a full-time cook. That began towards the end of August. They did the transferring of the meals from Hillsborough, July and August.
Jonah, can you tell them what down out there? It's hard to hear.
That's okay. July and August, until the last couple days of August, Hillsborough was doing that. So now we have, like I said, we have a full-time cook, and she's doing really well. In regards to the other senior centers, Peabody, we went to the FEMA meeting. They applied for FEMA. They also went, and when I helped them apply for the small business loan, they got denied for that. We were waiting for FEMA money, and Randy Frank told me that there is no FEMA money. It's only small business loan that they can get. They did carpet their senior center. They did get it carpeted here mid-September. They had monies to pay for it. And so, I guess at this point, there's no other help in regards to, they had the money to pay for the carpet, and that's basically what they needed to have done. They did have some mold removal. They did have somebody come in and do that also for them. So, and they've been running throughout this whole thing. The Durham Senior Center, because of the flood, the community center hasn't been, I don't know that it's had any work done to it. And so at this point, they're not meeting. I'm not sure. I guess a church did offer them to meet there, but no decision has been made. The Burns Senior Center, one of the key people that's been in charge of that has had some health issues, and so they're no longer meeting. So kind of losing some senior centers, unfortunately.
Is your microphone on, Tina?
Yes, it's turned up all the way.
I'm having a hard time hearing some of it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess
I just want to make sure the mic is on.
Okay. I was getting a little bit of feedback, so I backed out a little bit.
I don't think the mic is the problem.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think a
but I
lack of
believe
respect is the problem.
I think so.
Talking.
And, that's basically all I had, unless you had some questions.
Ask you, did either the Durham or the Peabody ask for any additional help from anybody besides what funds they have?
Peabody, I called up Julie Gilbert Walters at North Central Flint Hills and asked her if there was any money in regards to statewide. She did some checking, and there wasn't. They commented about checking with, the name has just lost me. They have a foundation that gives money, and they encourage them to ask them for some money. It's a foundation up in Manhattan, and I don't know that they've ever heard from them. The problem is, after you've already done the work,
Yeah.
and you pay for it, then is anybody gonna come by and say, oh yeah, well then we'll give you $1,000.
Right.
Sometimes that doesn't happen, just because you've now paid for it.
Do you know anything about the Durham Senior Center, what their plans are?
The last I'd heard, they were planned on totally remodeling it, but, I think that depended on how the costs came in and.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they were there applying for FEMA or small business loan. I know I saw them somewhere. FEMA small business loan.
I'm not sure if they applied for that or not.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
I would ask the commission if they would come up with some number to justify either one of them, one to repay for the carpet down there. I know the bill was probably over $1,000.
Yeah, I think it was like, for one room, it was like $5,000, and
Yeah.
they did both rooms.
Okay.
So I don't know the
But
exact
I would like
amount.
to come up with a figure, maybe the commission could get Durham's bills, help with. Just because of the collection, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I haven't heard from Durham yet if they've received any cost estimates or anything at this point.
I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know as much about the Durham one because they're not the ones who are trying to get the money. It's the community, it's the city, so I don't know where they're at in regards to
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Because the Durham one is a city.
City. I see.
It used to be township, and the township turned it back to the city.
I don't know whether I'm speaking of 1,000 or whether I'm speaking of 2,000 to come up with and make available for either one. Just asking for some input.
Well, I'd like to see them both continue. It sounds like Peabody is.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly where they're at.
Lila she's the head of Durham.
Right, she's the
But
president.
they were displaced, so they're now
Yeah.
living in Hillsborough.
Yeah, they moved to Hillsborough and are not moving back.
So I'm
to
not
Oh,
sure.
That's why she said she was a Hillsborough resident then, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, but still representing
Right.
Durham. Okay.
Their house was uninhabitable.
Yeah. Well, I just make a motion that, for $1,500 to go towards either one and replacing if Durham rebuilds towards replacement costs and for Peabody towards the carpet costs. That's my motion.
Any discussion there?
That's on the senior city buildings? or
Senior buildings, yes.
Senior buildings?
Yes, yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, and moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Sure they'll appreciate that. I'd like to have an executive session. That's
For
possible.
personnel.
Personnel, yes, sorry.
How long will you need?
Probably, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, at most.
Okay. So this is for personnel matters,
Yes.
in order to discuss.
Personnel performance.
Of non-elected officials?
Right.
Okay, and you want to discuss that just with the commission?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, then I'll move the week's recession to executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for personnel matters of non-elected personnel with Gayla Ratziff and commission until, say, 5 minutes will do it? Okay, from,
5 to 10. I don't think it'll take more than 5, but it could take.
okay, 5 minutes from, that'd be 10:35 till 10:40, and we're gonna resume back into open session.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Well, actually, we probably need that in here.
Out of executive session, no action taken.
Oh, we are back and open? Okay.
Yes, out of executive session, no action taken, and we'll be going back in.
Oh, you should have told me that before I walked over here.
I thought you could just stay there.
Well, you got that part out. We're going back into executive.
Right.
For how long?
Another 5 minutes.
Another 5.
Okay, I'm gonna move,
Talk
we
fast.
recess in
You're giving me
executive
5
session
minutes.
in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for the purpose of personnel matters of non-elected personnel with commission and Gayla Ratziff until 10:47. Then we'll resume open session. Okay. Second, all in favor? Aye.
Oh, I can calculate, I'll figure it out.
I calculated it out.
That's fine with me.
And what is her title? Is it assistant?
She's, Secretary in Transportation.
Secretary of Transportation.
/ Coordinator.
Coordinator. Nobody's coming back.
Yeah, I don't know if we can open the door, I guess.
We're busy out there.
They're
Here
coming.
comes Travis.
They're coming.
An important meeting in the hall.
Yeah.
Didn't know you were ready.
The
door's
do it
open.
again. The door's open.
Opened it once. and
Yeah,
shut
well, it's
us back
open
out.
early, right?
We'll record that.
Okay, out of executive session, I'm gonna make a motion that we increase the salary for Linnell Hett, Secretary and Transportation Coordinator with the Department of Aging, from $12.88 to $13.63 per hour.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor? Aye.
I with, and I'm in favor of this, but we need to look at our county's wage, and we are gonna wait till 2 new commissioners come aboard, so 2 new commissioners, if you're listening out here, whoever it may be, why, be prepared.
Prepared for pay plan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Travis? Good.
Okay, I'll give you a piece of paper so you look at that, so we'll start with that first. It's time for write-offs, and then the second page is that would be July through the end of September financial report on what we billed out. I don't know if you want to take action on the first page. Like total write-offs would be $9,346.28. That's good, go ahead and write that off.
Okay, any questions? Commissioner?
No.
If not, I'll make a motion to approve the charge-offs for EMS for $9,346.28.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
And then the second page, I guess you could review that, just the financial statement, quarterly. And if you have any questions on that, I could certainly help answer those. If not, it's just information for you.
How is the process revolving?
Good?
Good?
It's had one thing to talk about, but yeah, we've had our hiccups getting
Okay.
going back in. Most recently, they turned over 75 to 100 patients, somewhere in there, per account. These are not patients anymore, but they turned those accounts back, so we have to get those entered into our system, which is a little time consuming, but Jamie's doing a good job handling that, getting it up and running, so
Okay.
I think we're gonna be doing fine, so. As far as Omni goes, we should have received our final bill from them. It's a little vague on their date range. They should be done processing it, and obviously that was a percentage that we paid when they collected. They got their percentage.
The last one was right around $350, but again, that was at the end of, the beginning of October. So that should have been mid-month probably, and we should really be cleared up. If not, it would be a minute bill coming in, and then we'll be out from under that. We do have 30 days access to billing records that they had. So some of these people, they turn back to us. Jamie will have to go in within the next 30 days and get all of their payment history, that kind of stuff, basically printed off or downloaded. I think that's maybe part of the problem we're having is it's a web-based thing, and we only have access for so long, but we're working diligently to get that taken care of. So, EMR classes, I would like to host EMR classes after the first of the year. I personally believe this is really the future of EMS, is with the combination department being paramedics and EMTs on the paid ambulance. We use EMRs over in Hillsborough, EMRs, EMTs as first responders, like we do in Lincolnville, Gossel, those places. Hillsborough, we're really working to incorporate them as first response. A lot of times, our ambulance will be on another call, be out of town on their way to Wichita, things of that nature. It's good to still have those people to respond, and then the ambulance from Marion shows up, or Peabody, another ambulance arrives. And I really would like to see, I'd like to go to the volunteer fire departments and see if I can get, like Marion, get some of these guys, and Peabody, things of that nature. Try and get those people at least at the EMR level. They can't transport patients by themselves, but they'd be a good asset to have on the crew. And what I have is around $400 a student. I wouldn't want to start a class with less than 10 or more than 20, but if we could get that 10 to 20 range, I think the EMR is easier to get than the EMT. The continuing ed is less. People just don't volunteer like they used to, and it's a smaller commitment, but it's still of value to us. And I think that's really the future of where we're headed. Again, I'd like to have your blessing to start the ball rolling on it. It's kind of a hybrid class. It's done some online, and then weekends would be hands-on stuff. Just kind of have your blessing to get that ball rolling and see what I have out there for interest. Again, I think it needs to kind of be an application process so we know who we're getting in the door and that kind of thing. But so yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
You have to have an outside instructor come in for that, or?
We will. We have one on staff part-time that we would agree to a rate of pay, and that's within that $400. It's probably going to be cheaper than that, probably closer to $350. Just throwing a number out there so we're not caught off guard. But there is an EIG grant out that pays $320 a student, so certainly we would look into that to save tax dollars for sure. I just can't guarantee that. So kind of where we're at with that. Questions, comments? Okay to start the ball rolling at least and see where we're at first of the year.
I'm waiting on Commissioner Novak to question this.
Nope.
No questions? Okay. All right. New kid just graduates out of high school at 18 years old. When we started this service for professional people, it's not only just to have good service and good things for full-time people, but also create jobs in this county. What does an 18-year-old do graduating from high school do to start? Could they go straight to an EMT school or a paramedic school outside Marion County? Could do that at 18?
To go to paramedic, you have to be an EMT.
Okay.
So you have to go through the EMT course, and then the paramedic is an associate's degree.
And you can do that at 18 years old?
At 18, you can go become a paramedic, or an EMT. And then right after you get certified, you could certainly enroll into an accredited college with a paramedic program.
And I know you're open to this and everything, but I'm just trying to open it up to the public and that we'd like to see some people get involved and have a job right here at home.
Sure.
That's part of my goal as part of this, so.
Absolutely, and one of our newest hires relocated back to the county, had been with us before, went down to, I'm gonna say it wrong, I think it was Wellington, 6-7 years down there, and came back as a paramedic and moved to the Hillsborough area. So I think that's what I want too, as a, it's our tax dollars paying these people, we certainly want them in our community, but yeah, I don't know what the draw is, how we're wired to want to do this job, but
yeah,
if we can find that, we could write a book and do good. But yeah, I think I have one gentleman I've been speaking with out of the Hillsborough area that's interested in becoming an EMT, and at this point, I wouldn't feel comfortable hosting an EMT class. I think that needs to be for the handful of people that money's better spent sending them somewhere to get them trained, scholarship, things like that, if we can retain those people. I think that's a better route. In the past, what I've seen that happened in the past, we just didn't get our money out of the EMT class with one student that's serving the county. We spent a lot of money in overtime a couple of years ago. So I don't think that's a good business.
Some of them we've got more out of.
Yep.
I mean, there's been some more that we've got that out of, but it's awful tough.
Yeah, and again, I think that's where the EMR comes in. It's gonna be easier to attract, easier to get people through, and like I said, there's no reason to start with less than 10. You're shooting yourself in the foot at that point, so. Yeah, I'd like to get that rolling. The other thing is, with the grand opening of Edwards, I've been approached. It seems that everybody on the north side of the highway is doing kind of a customer appreciation in conjunction with the grand opening, and I would like to offer blood pressure checks at our station up there. Maybe even have the ambulance outside over at Edwards, where there's maybe gonna be more people than just coming into our station to plug up the driveway and that thing. So I think if we were to put them maybe behind Edwards back there in that parking lot where people could come get their blood pressure checked. Again, I would entertain just doing it in our station as well. Like I said, the hardware, the salon, those places are doing things as well. I think it would be a value PR for us to offer blood pressure checks, whether it be at the station or out in the parking lot. So maybe your suggestions or ideas that way, I would certainly take those.
I have no problem with it unless somebody's got a legal issue about it or something.
Well, if all of the businesses there are kind of working in conjunction with.
Yeah, Trace the Copper, the car wash, and I think kind of a pre-Halloween trick or treat along there as well. So I think maybe there'll be some kids out in the area. I think, whether it be station tours or people wanting blood pressure checks, I think it'd be a good
Duty
deal.
calls and you'll leave.
Yeah, we're obviously available for call, so.
Okay.
I guess the only question is, would be better to just have them do that on our property or?
Yeah, that's fine. I certainly don't want to cross that line where I'm showing favoritism, anything of that nature. I certainly, and I was approached about some other items, but I didn't feel comfortable with. I think we have to be equal there for sure.
I think, your presence right there at the station would be
Okay.
good, being that there's gonna be traffic along there.
Sure. And
I guess you put a sign out or something, say free blood pressure.
sure, certainly could do that. So,
I don't have a problem.
okay, and did I help you catch up? That's all I have, unless you have something for me, so.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you much.
Good.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bud here?
Yeah. Come on in, sir.
All warmed up for you. Morning, Bud.
Morning. Figured I'd come in and give you some updates on our departments.
transfer station got inspected by KDHE last week. We did really good except for one violation. I took down the sign a couple weeks ago to fill in the mud hole. I haven't got a new one put back up, but they gave me 30 days to get a new one up, and we're in the process of putting up a new sign. HHW passed inspection, was good. Those were the two that were inspected by KDHE. Weed department's going good.
New sign for?
Transfer station, out front, the big one we had on the pipes.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a temporary, permanent sign, however you wanna call it.
Okay.
It's gonna be planted right out there at the entrance. It has to be our hours of operation, the name of the place, the phone number, you know. So anyway, it's gonna be on a 4x8 sheet of plywood this time instead of 20 foot by whatever it was last time.
Right.
And anyway, so that's, hopefully, it'll be in the end of this week, in the ground. We're gonna have it put together and everything, so we'll be in good shape there, and then I just have to take a picture of it and send it to the inspector, and she'll either come and look at it, or she's new, so.
Okay.
Anyway, the transfer station, that was everything down there. Recycling's going good. Hillsborough in 3 months has brought us in 33 tons of recycling. And they keep still bringing it in on a pretty good note. So right now, we have gotten caught up finally and got the room emptied out. And but there for a while, we were going with a load every week up to Fort Riley, just because we were running out of room for it. So
No pay yet.
no pay yet. I checked with the guy. He thought there might be something coming towards the end of the year, but he wasn't for sure.
Okay.
And weed department, it's slowed down because the weeds quit growing, and except for the rosettes and stuff that we're getting on people on and stuff. I don't have any force sprays that we're going to be doing this year because my aerial sprayers and all the other sprayers have gotten behind and not going to be able to work us in. So those, I'm just sticking on the people the best I can, trying to get them to spray it themselves. And of course, HHW, it's gone what it needed to do, and everything's going good in it. So anyway, and then I was gonna wait till next week to tell you guys this, but I'll go ahead and tell you now. Time's come for me to retire.
Yay.
So November 20th of 2019 will be my last day. So.
We wish you the best.
And I've enjoyed doing what I've been doing here. I've always enjoyed working for Marion County, even in the past. It's a good place to work.
How many years?
32 years total is what I'll have in. So it'll be almost 10 years this go around, and it was 22 and a half the first time.
November what this year?
20th. The end of this pay period.
Well, thank you for your
What a
service.
position.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you, and I appreciate Randy giving me the opportunity to do this and seeing some good in me back in 2015 when I was offered a job and took it, so.
Well, if I was just known you 4 years, I don't know about the change. I figured a 10-year employee. But.
Right.
Thank you, Brad.
But anyway, that's all I have. Does anybody have anything for me on anything?
Have anything changed with have they called you, done anything?
I've had 2 companies, I've stayed late twice now for them to come and look at the facility to tear it down and stuff. Everything seems to be going ready for November 4th for the opening. They did ask me on the drive going out of the transfer station now if there would be any way that we could close that down for a week, because the new pit's going to be going pretty close to that, and I told them if at all possible keep it open, because I don't want to make a back-end situation for a week. We'd get so stormed over doing that, so the engineer said he would make it that they'd have to shore it up and go past it that way. I guess one thing, do you want me to shut the utility, the water and part of the electricity off at that whole facility? Do you want to keep going until comes time for construction? Right now, we're paying two bills down there. One for the new shop office area and one for the, we're gonna have to keep electricity to the tipping floor area, but the other part would not have to have electricity to it.
In the old office area?
Yeah, the old office area and the old bathroom. Everything that's being done now goes over to the new office if they need to watch anything, or we moved all the welders and stuff over into the new area. We're not in the old part anymore, so.
If it goes through and it's gonna have to be done pretty shortly, then if it goes through for bids and we find some money somewhere.
You know, I just.
It's not being utilized and we have to worry about water freeze up or something.
Yeah, do you have an electric meter for the other half already over there? For the shop part, I mean for the dump part.
Right, they were talking that they were gonna get, the city of Merriam was talking they'd get a hold of Westar and have them just bring it straight from the transformers over instead of through that pole, cause that one pole that's north there has to come out, cause that's right almost in the middle of the pit drive-through for the new facility. So, I think that would, if I get the city to do it, we could just get it switched over, you know, and just have that out of the way and have the water shut down, and then that's good to go. So if and when it goes, then we don't have to wait for them to shut it down.
The only thing I have is the board care to wait till we see that we can finance the situation and do it, to do that, or go ahead?
That's
Well,
what we do. I haven't done it yet.
You're not gonna be utilizing that either way.
Either way.
No, we're not storing anything in there because I took most of the dirt out of there to fill in the mud hole that was out front on the east side. I cut that down so we could use our drive-through shop as a drive-through shop and put the dirt right in there. And that was one of the concerns when we were inspected. They said that the pile of dirt you had that was contaminated, did you put that in that water hole? And I said, no, it's out of the south shop on a land farm being aerated out. I said, this dirt came from right here in front of our old shop. And I said, it's not contaminated. So, but anyway.
I personally don't see any reason to keep it on.
If you don't have no reason for it, then turn it off.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get it done. That way we just have the one bill then. Well, we'll still have electrical bill for the old tipping floor, but you know, that's not gonna be that much.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you, bud.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Congratulations
Yeah,
on.
congratulations.
On deciding it's ready to go.
Thank you.
Okay, Randy Frank available? Good morning, Randy. Go ahead.
Okay, just bring everyone up to speed on what's happening in the last several months. We've conducted a regional LEPC tabletop tech exercise. LEPC is our local emergency planning committee. We did a tabletop exercise with them. Exercises have grown a little bit because now I think it was a couple of months ago, the governor signed a bill into a law now requiring schools to do 6 drills, which includes 2 exercises. So now I've got 6, I got college too. 6 additional schools to work with, and we're trying to make sure they're all tabletop exercises and trying to do them all together at once. We'll do 2 a year instead of 12. And so I'm trying to do that. So we're working that whole piece out. And that just became law, so it'll all really kick into gear next year. So there was a conference in Wichita last month for the educators to go to learn more about how to write exercises and how to participate in exercise, what it really meant, as opposed to the normal drills, which is fire drills, tornado drills. So this has been something a little more aggressive than that to do with a tabletop exercise. As you know, the tabletop exercises are talking discussion exercises where there's no lights and sirens or anything like that. But you said you talk through whatever your plan says you should be doing. So that's going to be a new piece in the whole thing. We've obviously in the last several months had a little bit of severe weather. And numerous thunderstorms, FEMA declaration, a small business administration declaration, lots of flooding, and then just for the heck of it, we had an EF1 tornado and an earthquake. So it's been a busy year this year for things. The earthquake just kind of shook us a little bit, no problems, and the small tornado was just north of Burns. It was out in the fields. It didn't, probably scared a few cows, but other than that, it didn't do a whole lot of anything. It's a rogue tornado. The Homeland Security and FEMA have decided they want to change how all of our plans look. So we'll be rewriting all of our plans that we do in August. They've added more things they want into them, so we'll be doing all that. So that'll be a new challenge this year, for this coming year. Let's see, the wildfire outlook for the year the state puts on for emergency managers and fire chiefs is coming up in December. There'll be folks will be going to that. It is open to all the government agencies. Department of Homeland Security. Last year, I was involved in a project with them in DC. I went out there for a week, and we discussed drones and disasters and other emergency response activities, how to be used and things like that. By the time we were done, we created a manual. If you want that, that's the manual that was done. And part of our discussion was that we need to actually find out and test in different categories, can agencies afford them, and can they maintain them and things like that, do certain things with them. And we developed a testing program, and that test will happen in 3 weeks in Camp Shelby, Mississippi, which is south of Hattiesburg. It's a military camp out there. But anyhow, I'm one of the 9 pilots who were invited to come out and fly. We'll have 10 different drones out there, and I've seen the cost of the 10 drones, and I told them, please let me be the last one that flies this one, because it was over $100,000. We wanted to wrinkle that
So
one.
we have replaced our drone.
We replaced ours with a used drone. It still works, it's functional. The types that we have, and I won't be taking ours out there. They purchased their own for the test. Because we chose these because we want to see how they would do in different situations. So ours will stay here. As you brought that up, because it was lost during the response phase of federal declaration, FEMA will pay 85% to replace it. And so when the FEMA checks start coming in, there'll be $4,000 in notice specifically for the drone to be replaced.
And that's for the new replacement?
For the replacement, yeah.
Not the used one?
No, not the used one. The used one was paid for out of grant funds. We spent $600 on it to replace it. It's usually, like I said, it's typically a $4,000 project, and we were able to find what they call it. Someone bought it, took it out of the package, said nope, wrong one, and sent it back. But since the seal was open, they can't sell it as a new one, so we picked it up for $600. So we purchased that out of the grant, this is really what drones look like when eagles attack them. That's what happened. It was an immature bald eagle down by Florence that took it out. Shortly after that happened, the Fish and Game guy says, we thought there was a nest down there. And I said, well, there's no thinking about it. There's one down there now. There's no reason for that bird to be down there. But anyhow, they do take out drones. And actually, over in France, they train these golden eagles to do it to help in part of this defense activities. So, yeah.
New predator.
How did we catch, this isn't a picture of the eagle that did it?
No, no. I'm just showing you that it does happen. It really does happen. You can Google it. You'll find lots of eagles that take these things out.
Well,
Hawks.
these trained falcons do the same thing?
Oh, the trained falcons will do more. But they're working with the golden eagles over in France. We're not doing that here.
What is one of the drones cost that we purchase?
Ours is about $4,000.
$4,000
for the entire set. Yes. Like I said, I was able to replace the one piece for $600.
But now when you buy a new one, haven't drones come up a little bit more as far as, so you would wanna maybe look at updates a little bit?
Yes. We'll look at that, and I'm not looking to replace it just yet. Well, one, money hasn't come in either. But the other thing is I want to see what we come up with in this testing, because there may be a different type I want to look at once we finish all this testing that's going on. And then I'm working on my recertification, which is due every 2 years for emergency management.
How long of a process is that?
Oh, it takes 2 years to get through the whole process. It's different training, different things you have to do, like exercises you have to accomplish. 3 exercises a year, things like that. There are several things in there, so it takes 2 years to finish it up. So you don't stay on ball and you'll be behind.
And then how long is it good for?
2 years.
So it's
Every 2 years?
It's just continual.
Every 2 years we're doing this. But it's required by law, I have to have it, so. So we continue doing it.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's, yep,
Anything else?
That's it?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Have a good day.
Have a good one.
Yep. And for the media, wherever you're sitting, I'll send out a press release on
thank you.
the thing, so that you have it.
Okay.
I never know who the media is anymore, they keep changing.
Brad?
Who's that?
Litigation,
Yeah.
15 minutes.
It might be.
15 minutes?
Should do it.
Okay. I'll move we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential litigation for consultation with their current attorney-client privilege pursuant to KSA 75-4319B with county councilor and commission until 11:30. Let's just make it 11:35. We'll resume the open session. One second, all those in favor? Don't get too crazy. Till 12?
Oh, they need.
We should easily be able to do it that time.
Okay. Out of executive session, no action taken. I'll move, we move recession to executive session in order to discuss retention of legal counsel pursuant to KSA 70-4319B for personnel matters of non-elected personnel with the commission of the county council until 12 o'clock. We resume back into open session. Move in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Until 12.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. That's the last agenda item. We'll open it up for citizen concerns. Anyone?
So Brad, did you hear any more on the road right-of-ways or anything from KDOT or any, what's the news on that?
No, working with everything else at the moment, but no.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, okay, yeah, I should have known. Okay.
I did find in the minutes, on the, landowner's approval to travel the haul routes with, so I have that here for all of you if you wanna look at that. And then just as a reminder, tomorrow is your regional commission meeting. Here's the location and everything on that. So there's one of these for each of you.
Okay.
One of each of those.
I know I signed up for that, I'm gonna have to dig on it, down in Kansas City. I'm sorry, so give my regards to everybody over there.
Okay, anyone?
Okay, so this right here says that we did make decisions to go ahead and have them use the haul routes, right?
It was it was consensus, you didn't take an action, a formal action, but you all agreed.
I can read that if.
Yeah, that would be great.
It says, after discussion, this was from the June 24th meeting minutes. After, it was under the Diamond Vista Road Maintenance Agreement discussion, RMA. After discussion, the consensus of the board was to allow local landowners to travel non-approved all routes in order to claim donated materials from the project without being subject to fines. Clarifies that.
And does that also extend into hiring private truckers and stuff like that?
Well, if it would be a local landowner.
and he hires.
Says
a-
local landowners.
Is there a difference there, like that gentleman was bringing up?
Well, if they're- if
Semi
it's-
loads.
Yeah, if it's the, at least based on what you have there, if it is the property owner, so, hiring someone as their agent is gonna extend to them.
Okay. Anyone else? Last chance?
Or anything from the railroad?
No.
Yeah, other
It's
stuff.
probably a whole lot.
I think it's a fool's errand, isn't it?
Other stuff.
Okay, if that's it, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Diane beat me, I heard her before I was talking.
Yeah, Brian was ready.